infrastructure companies, and many more. We welcome you all. Good morning, everyone. And we are starting the webinar right now. And it is going to be a wonderful brainstorming session for sure. And let me just going with the flow. And may I invite Mr. Yogesh Mudras, Managing Director in Informa Markets in India, to say a few words, and he'll be sharing his insights and to talk about all the entire world of concrete we'll be talking about, and we'll be taking the question answers after some good time. May I help me welcome Mr. Yogesh Mudras.
Right. Very good morning, everyone. Very good morning, and pleased to see this kind of attendance for our first ever webinar. Warm welcome to all the dignitaries, the speakers who have joined us here today. Informa Markets is pleased to launch this webinar, Connecting India by Concrete, Significance and Need for Concretization of Roads and Bridges. As we all know, road infrastructure is a major priority for the government. Roads carry more than 60% of all goods and 85% of passenger traffic. The Minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, recently said that this COVID-19 should be seen as an opportunity to renew focus on infrastructure development and accelerating the economy. So, in a way, if we see, COVID-19 could prove as a blessing in disguise for our industry once the scenario settles down. Post-COVID, also companies will look at new ways of doing business and reaching out to customers and also gaining knowledge. So, in such a case scenario, Informa Markets in India has come forward with their digital solutions through doing this series of webinars. We are also getting into space of launching virtual bar seller meets, virtual trade shows, and much more in the digital space. This will also help share innovative ideas and ways and means to do business to a captive audience across the social media and digital means. Today, we have eminent panelists and speakers from government and private sector who have joined us here today, and I welcome them on behalf of Informa Markets in India and also Construction Equipment and Rental Association, SERA. The panelists who have joined us here today are Mr. R.K. Pandey, Member Projects, National Highway Authority of India, Mr. Anand Sundaresan, former Vice Chairman, Schwingstrater, Mr. Binod Kumar, Senior Principal Consultant, Central Road Research Institute, Dr. V. Ramachandran, Joint President and Head Tech Services, Ultratech Cement Limited, Mr. Vinay Gupta, President ICI and CEO Tandon Consultants, Mr. Satish Sharma, Chief Technical Officer, HCC India, Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, Vice President and Head Business Development, Virgin Group, and of course, the moderator for today, for the panel discussion, Mr. Satin Sachdeva, Secretary General, SERA. Coming to the topic for today, as we all know, concrete roads no doubt are the future. There are quite a few merits of concretization of roads. The merits range from durability, low maintenance, ability to handle changes in temperature, fuel efficiency for vehicles, and so many other reasons. I'm sure you're all looking forward to a very engaging, interactive session, which is going to come up over the next 1.5 hours, wherein I'm sure there'll be some new age solutions which will be discussed, and some pressing challenges of our industry will also be discussed, and some solutions will be arrived at. So once again, thanking all the dignitaries and you audience who have made it possible to join in this for this webinar. I hand over to Mr. Satin Sachdeva, Secretary General, SERA, to take this forward. Over to you, Satin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yogesh Mudras, for inviting me to moderate this wonderful session. SERA and Concrete Show India Association will go a long way for sure, and together we'll be keep working for the growth of equipment rental industry and all the related industry. And we'll surely be doing big, and we'll make this mission possible, you know, with all the best of the panelists here. We have all the eminent and distinguished panelists here. Friends, the count is increasing. I can see the participants, the audience is crossing 800 to 900 participants as of now, which is great. And we welcome you all. I am Satin Sachdeva, founder of Secretary Construction Equipment Rental Association of India, SERA, and currently serving its Secretary General. It's been more than 20 years working as an approved valuer of plant and machinery, and we are also a leading rental company. And for today, we'll surely be talking about the world of concrete, and we'll talk more about roads and concrete roads and more about asphalt roads. There is no comparison, but we'll surely be taking care of both the roads. So it's all about infrastructure, which is going great. and talk a little more about SERA. SERA represents Indian equipment rental industry. And when we talk about machines, which is a backbone of the entire infrastructure industry, we are the ones who is taking the things forward. And it is a combination of the manufacturers, the rental companies, the financiers. Everybody has to be on a single platform. We are 500 member plus now, and we are growing exponentially. So I hope we are the best of the panel around here, and we'll be talking for the welfare of rental fraternity, equipment rental fraternity, and construction companies, infrastructure companies. Let me introduce Mr. Pandey. Mr. R.K. Pandey is here. Help me invite Mr. R.K. Pandey, who is currently a member projects with NHAI, National Highway Authority of India. He joined the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways as Assistant Executive Engineer in 1986 and went on to become a Chief Engineer. He is really instrumental in many of the government policies and is a distinguished face of NHAI. Please help me welcome Mr. R.K. Pandey for his keynote address. Mr. R.K. Pandey, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachdeva, and good morning, everyone. I'm sure you can hear me.
Yes, it's audible.
Friends,
Audible.
you know, for a country like ours, infrastructure is the need. It's a key factor which will push our economy. As in the beginning, our panelists said that road being the predominant mode of transport, it is one of the most important infrastructure sector. And knowing the importance very well, Government of India has launched a very ambitious program, which popularly known as Bharatmala Pariyojana. For your, the people who are not from the roadside, for their benefit, I'll just tell you, the central government is basically looking after national highway, which is, of course, a very minuscule percentage of the total road network, but carries the most of the traffic. It carries more than 50% of the total traffic on the road network. This Bharatmala Pariyojana comprises upgradation of around 65,000 kilometers of road. It has been divided into two phases. Phase one is covering around 25,000 kilometers. It was supposed to be completed by 2022. Of course, it will slip by 2 years and will be completed by 2024. This Pariyojana, out of 24,800 kilometers, we have already approved 12,000 kilometers and 11,000 already been awarded, work in progress. We are sure in the coming 2 years, we'll award the balance portion and it will be completed by 2024. Now, when we talk about use of concrete in road construction, we have two options, either go for asphalt or concrete. Our sole decision criteria for adoption of concrete or asphalt road is on the basis of the whole life cycle cost analysis. I'm not claiming that we have very good mathematical models available for carrying out whole life cycle cost analysis, but of course, whatever information, particularly for the asphalt road, we have very good mathematical tested model for the Indian condition, but concrete roads were not many in our country. So we don't have the mathematical modeling for costing the maintenance part of it. So we are using the models developed by others, but the whole decision depends upon the whole life cycle cost analysis. Just for example, if you see the 2 years back when the bituminous prices were at the top, it was around 50,000 ton, and the cement prices were low. All our contracts were awarded on concrete road. Today, position is reversed. The prices of cement has gone up, whereas the prices of bitumen has come down. So today, the bituminous roads are cheaper, and we are going for the cheaper option. The whole point is industry will have to decide, and they'll have to be competitive to, allow us to be select a particular kind of road. It is, of course, competition is one thing, but at the same time, I would like to tell you, we have introduced number of new specifications, which need more of use of cement and use of construction equipment. Say, for example, we are now using a lot of cement treated bases and sub bases. It's the most popular kind of type of road which is being adopted by all the contractor and concessionaire. Not only in terms of the specification, even if you see the kind of roads we are constructing now, if you compare the National Highway Development Program when we launched GQ and North, South, East, West corridor, you'll find very, minimum number of structure, because that time whole idea was to have 4-lane road. Today, we have gone much ahead. We are more bothered about road safety. We are more bothered about saving in construction cost. So you will find on our road, the number of structures are empty number of structures. Literally, if I'll say last 2 years, what we are doing is, we are not allowing any kind of at-grade junction. When I'm saying no at-grade junction, it means on every crossing, we'll have to have a flyover or the underpasses. So the quality as well as the specification has undergone a tremendous change, and the use of equipment and cement is the keyword for today. Coming to the issue of when I see from the user side of it, what are the issues which are, area of concern? See, a new construction which we have taken up, a greenfield corridor from Delhi to Mumbai. From Delhi to Baroda, it is sanctioned last year. It is a bituminous pavement. We have gone for a perpetual payment, which can be, designed for forever, and we'll have to take minimum maintenance. But beyond Baroda to Mumbai, it's a concrete payment because we have sanctioned long back. I can tell you, it's a, for all of us, it's a matter of pride. One of my contractor has brought a paver, which is going to be the widest paver in the world. Yes. He is going to take up that work, and he is planning to create a world record of doing maximum number pouring, maximum number of cubic meter of concrete in a day. That is the kind of situation. Unfortunately, because of this COVID situation, we'll have to postpone it, but that day is not far. And in terms of the concrete, you will find the name of India will come in number of places that they did this kind of work, they did this kind of work. Because such kind of ambitious program, no country has launched so far. Again, now, as far as we are concerned, I told you, we are doing a lot of work. We'll have to do 25,000 kilometers. We are confident that we'll do it. The choice between concrete and the asphalt depends upon the competitiveness. Apart from that, there are some concerns as an authority for development of roads, particularly when we talk about concrete roads. As I told you, I don't have perfect model for Indian condition, particularly for the maintenance of the concrete road. Of course, we are taking initiatives and we'll develop that model. Another important issue which generally we are getting, complaint from the road user, that the quality of riding surface of the concrete road is not as good as of asphalt. When I see we are using all those world-class equipments, where we are lacking? What are the issues where we are going wrong? One of the answer could be unavailability of the skilled labor, or the other answer is poor quality. There are these two issues where I'm looking the help from the industry. We'll have to develop, we have all sophisticated equipment. Until and unless we have that kind of operator, we'll not get beyond. Number two, when we are in an era when we have forgotten about all those, even our panel disconnect and all those, and switch over to webinar, can't equipment manufacturer give me all the feeds? When I'm saying all the feeds, from the batch mix plant, I'll get all data, how much cement has been used, how much the aggregate has been used, what was the water content. Similarly, when it comes to the paver, why it should not directly transmit it to me, how much lane has been, how much road has been laid today. If all this kind of facilities are available, I'm sure we will be in a better position to serve the nation. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. R.K. Pandey, for your valuable keynote address and sharing your valuable insights. For sure, the entire industry is here. We can have a big applaud for Mr. R.K. Pandey. All the help is readily available, sir. And also we appreciate government proactive and supportive measures, including stakeholders expecting a speedy recovery now on from current COVID-19 slowdown. We had an exponential growth, sir, in 2016-18, driven by various infrastructure development activation. This was in contrast to prior 3-year 2012 and 16, when the industry had hit the rough patch. So any of the additional inputs you'd like to provide, Mr. Pandey?
Of course.
Post-COVID, how exactly are we really prepared for the post-COVID, and any of the stimulus packages or something like that? Looking at the current scenario of the current economy, which is really, earlier also it was getting slow, and now it is due to this COVID pandemic, it is really in a sluggish mode. So would like to have some insight from you,
Okay.
Mr. Pandey.
There are two issues. One is pre, 2012.
Yeah.
2012, in fact, what had happened, if you see the history of road building, during the era 2008-2012, we switched over from budgetary support to BOT.
Right.
Lot of players came, very aggressive bidding. Of course, we also defaulted some way. Without our adequate preparedness, we awarded the work. This we realized BOT flopped. To again, revive the road industry, again we switched over to government-funded project. New mode of contract was introduced. It was engineering procurement contracts, and industry was revived. Knowing fully well that BOT projects not coming forward, we introduced another new mode, that is HAM, hybrid annuity mode. So their situation was entirely different. Somehow or the other, we survived because we could plan. The whole idea was how to revive the industry. COVID, nobody has thought of. But of course, when challenge come, again, if you see the whole process, the road sector, the government took up very strongly. And after the first lockdown, we got the permission from the government to start the work. I can only share of NHAI, there are 375 works which we have reviewed last week. Out of 375 works, work in 288 projects already started. So this is the, from the government side, we took up that we need that all these work should start. Tolling was stopped because of the lockdown. There were issues. Tolling started. Of course, I do agree. We have not resolved the issue, in a 100% way. But of course, our entire effort is to try to see the challenges, resolve it. Yesterday also, if you see, the government came out with another kind of relaxation wherein the laborers are allowed to be, shifted from one place to another place. So as and when we'll get, even when we'll get, feedback from our contractors that are concessionaire, that they are facing some kind of problem of, movement of material, we'll certainly take up and get all those kind of relaxation from the government.
Thank you so much, Mr. R.K. Pandey. Thanks once again. Mr. Pandey, now we have more than 1,000 plus participants with us, and they're looking forward for the right solution. And I hope by the end of this session, they'll surely be getting a solution out of it. Now, may I please upload this PowerPoint presentation, and we'll be talking more about it. And now we are going to this panel discussion round. And let me just share the screen. I hope the screen is visible to all of you, to all the participants and all the panelists.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So
yes.
Help me just a minute. So this is a webinar for connecting India by concrete, and we'll be talking about significance and need of concretization of the roads and the bridges. This is Informa Market. In association with SERA, we are conducting it. Thank you, Yogesh Mudras, once again. And now it's time to introduce the eminent and distinguished panelists. I'll be talking about let me introduce Dr. V. Ramachandra. He is the head at Ultra Cements, the largest cement producer in India. He is serving as joint president in technical services at Ultra Cement. He is an expert in cement, concrete roads, and housing. He's also involved with code making bodies like BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards, and IRC, Indian Road Congress. Thank you so much for joining Dr. V. Ramachandra. Help me introduce Mr. Binod Kumar. Mr. Binod Kumar is a senior scientist with CRRI, that is Central Road Research Institute, New Delhi, for rigid payments division. He is actually engaged in the research consultancy work in the area of payment engineering and materials. That also includes analysis, design, construction, repair, maintenance of rigid payment and concrete. He has a wonderful experience of total 25 years. Thank you so much for joining, sir. Thank you. Let me introduce, and it's an honor to announce the same, Mr. Anand Sundareshanji. Mr. Anand Sundareshan, a mechanical electrical engineer with over 43 years of experience, was instrumental in introducing the computer-controlled batching plants for concrete and optimizing cost for uses in various construction projects. Over 80% NHAI road projects are constructed using higher batch capacity batching plant, 120 to 240 cubic plants, produced by his own company Schwingstetter India Private Limited, from which he superannuated as a vice chairman recently. He received many awards and held responsible positions in ISEMA, IESC, EFSI, SIPCOT, etc. He is a true legend in our equipment industry and a father figure for many equipment owners. Help me welcome Mr. Sundareshan sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome,
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Help me welcome Mr. Satish Kumar Sharma. He is a BTech MTech from IIT Roorkee, and with the vast knowledge and experience in planning of mega infra and power projects, is currently a CTO, Chief Technical Officer with HCC, and responsible for engineering, quality, safety, and environment management of group projects like bridges, metro rails, tunnels, and highway projects. He is on the various board of Government of India, involved in policy making and standardization. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Satish Kumar. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Vinay Gupta, he's serving as the president of Indian Institute of Bridge Engineers and ICI. He's a director and CEO of Mrs. Tandon Consultants Private Limited. He's involved in planning and designing various bridges, flyovers, vehicular underpasses, and quality control documents and standards on the codes. And he's also on the codes and standard committees of BIS and IRC. He has won various awards from UKIERI, IBC, IEI, etc., and has authored over 100 technical papers in CE journals and conferences, and is a guest faculty in NITHE, CRRI, ISDA, DPC, etc. Thank you so much, Mr. Vinay Gupta, for joining in. We welcome you on the board. Help me welcome Mr. Sanjay Bajaj. Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, you're welcome. He's currently Vice President and Head Business Development for Widgan India. Out of 23 years of experience, he has 20 good years of experience in concrete equipment industry, ranging from concrete production and paving. Mr. Sanjay is an active member of Indian highway industry and has immensely contributed to concrete equipment industry, especially in PQC pavement equipment. Help me welcome Mr. Sanjay Bajaj. Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, you're welcome. Welcome on the board.
Thank you.
Mr. Binod Kumar, I hope I have covered it all. I hope all, welcome all the distinguished guests, and let us start the panel discussion. And now we have more than 1,000 plus participants, and we can have a big applaud for all of them. They are joining us for the solutions. We'll definitely, all of us together will try to give all the solution. Thank you so much. So let us start the panel discussion. Let us all help me invite Mr. Sundareshan sir to have some insight about the business and how is COVID happening as of now, and how can we be, taking it over, from the industry and take it in the right leap. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I think it is a slightly difficult job to talk always in the first, but anyway, I'll try to make it. First of all, I would say that whatever Mr. Pandey spoke, that was really very good for our ears, because I come from the concreting industry, and as everybody knows, 2012 to 15 was a very, very bad time for the industry, the equipment manufacturing industry, and also generally the construction industry. But from 2015-16 onwards, it was only NHI, the complete equipment industry, we survived only because of NHI and because of the several orders issued by NHI after that. So that is why it was a fantastic time from 2016, 17, 18, of course, including 19 as well. But I understand that there were some issues in 19, so the number of orders released during 2019 was comparatively less. But the whole industry survived, whether it is concreting equipment or whether it is the other preparatory equipments like earth moving machines or backhoe loaders and all this. It all survived only because of the support or the initiative taken by the NHI in awarding so many contracts during this period. Now, going by what Mr. Pandey said, it's also coming as a really a nice thing to our ears as an equipment manufacturer. So Bharatmala project, and Mr. Pandey mentioned that they will be releasing out of in the first phase of about 25,000, 26,000 kilometers, another 11,000 kilometers of contract will be awarded, and all these, the first phase road of about 25,000 kilometers will be completed by the year 2024. That will be really fantastic. That will call for huge requirement of equipment. So the construction equipment industry with these things will definitely do extremely well. There was also some information, or there was a report some years ago that NHI, whenever they go for the road, at least 40% of the roads with which the NHI will be constructing will be concrete roads. That again is something good for the people who are involved in the concreting industry. And rightly so. If you see the developed countries, whether it is US, Germany, or whichever place it is, I think more than 40% of their roads are concrete roads. So in India, whereas only about 3 to 5% of the roads are concrete roads, whereas balance are all asphalt roads. So if you are moving towards concrete road, which has a distinct advantage of over the asphalt road, like durability, resistant to extreme weather conditions, long service life, lower fuel consumption, and things like that. But I do agree with Mr. Pandey's comments that, of course, each project and each stretch of road construction has to be reviewed independently for the life cycle cost before they come to a conclusion whether they should go for a concrete road or whether they should go for a asphalt road, because there is a fluctuating price of the bitumen, fluctuating price of cement, and even the cement prices are varying from one place to other place. So let's leave it to the expert NHI to decide whether they would like to go for this thing. But of course, we would be very happy if it's all concretized. In the concreting area itself, there are other opportunities available to us, which is happening in the developed countries like white topping. Like US is doing quite a lot of white topping, and where these modern machines are used. And this will definitely give a huge flip to the to boost to the equipment industry and this thing. Mr. Pandeyji also spoke about the quality of the road, or especially the driving quality of the road. And I would request my industry colleague, Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, to talk a little bit more on that, because he's more involved with the paving and the finishing. Because what I read is my knowledge is more theoretical rather than practical. We say that if you have a longitudinal grooves, and the riding quality can be better, and the skidding will not be there, and it will have a better this thing. But I think Sanjay will cover in his speech about that. Coming back to your question of, so we foresee with that, with NHI so much of initiative, the going is going to be absolutely fantastic for the equipment industry per se. Coming back to your question of what's happening during COVID and what's going to happen after COVID, yes, it is an issue. The industry, the COVID, the lockdown all over India, it came very suddenly. So all the industries are closed. We have not been able to produce anything. And the industry, as far as the concrete batching plants and other preparatory equipments are concerned, predominantly all the equipments are manufactured in India. So basically, there is a, but even though it is the equipment is manufactured in India, we still have a lot of dependence on imports. Like, you know, the imported components, we get some of our hydraulics, some of the cylinders and special gearboxes and things like that. We depend on imports. So everything is stopped. So even if it is opening tomorrow, let us say that, you know, unless and until that the logistics is in place, unless and until we are able to get the components from abroad, which we are fully dependent on today, it will be very difficult for us. So maybe going forward, it may take at least 2 to 3 months for us to come back to the situation. Maybe also in the meantime, even if we start tomorrow, let's say, maybe this time we have to utilize it for preparing ourselves, because the monsoon will set in and there will be a problem. We can't do concreting during the monsoon season. So anyway, there will be a problem. So I personally feel that the industry will revive, or the whole things will start in full stretch after the monsoon. So this would be this thing. And well, of course, this also gives us a lot of opportunity to, you know, think of starting manufacturing even the components in India. So that opens up a new area and new opportunity for all the component manufacturers in India. So this would be from my side. If there are any more things, I would be more than happy to. Any specific question, I would be more than willing to answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our solutions up to you only. Are we really equipped with the right concrete equipments here in India as compared to other countries? Are we really equipped for the right technology, the right concrete equipments?
Whatever equipment we are using in India, they are of the latest standard, that are of the state of the art equipment, be it a concrete batching plant, be it the pavers what we are using, or any of those equipment we are using. Okay, we started late, but definitely we are nowhere behind the thing. Just to give you a small example, the first 240 cubic meter batching plant, or the first set of 3, 4 and 240 cubic meter batching plant was supplied to B. Sinai and Company. That was for the Golden Quadrilateral project by us. And at that time, we got the design from Germany, and we also imported quite a lot of components for that project from Germany. But in Germany at that time, you know, they had supplied only one 240 cubic meter of batching plant. Whereas today in India, more than 32 240 cubic meter batching plants are working, and it's all predominantly, it is indigenized, including the mixer and many of the mixer components. Of course, we do depend on some critical components, like some hydraulic pumps or some gearboxes and things like that. But I can tell you that as far as the batching plant and all the back-end equipment what is required is concerned, these are predominantly manufactured in India. There is absolutely no problem. What's missing is only the paver, and I think that a company like Vidgen will take a lead, and hopefully if there is continuity in the concrete road, they would also start producing them in India.
Thank you, Sundaresh, so much. Thank you so much for your insights. Sanjay Bajaj, Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, would you like to add on something? As you have a long experience of dealing with concrete paver, what do you think is the right role for the pavers in the future? And will it gonna increase? The quantum will gonna increase from now on? After, if we talk about post-COVID.
Okay.
Over to Mr. Bajaj.
Thanks for this question, and I will take forward from where Mr. Pandey said and where Sundaresan sir said. So thanks to Mr. Sundaresan. He's a person who got me in this industry 20 years back. He's my first boss. Thanks, boss, for all your guidance. Now coming to what Sundaresan sir said on the quality of paving. Yes, we have the best of equipment, we have best of intentions, we have best of people. I think we went somewhere wrong in pushing the line there, 40 kilometers on the target. There's a lot of issues I keep hearing from the industry on the noise, adding quality. See, earlier the IRC had only one direction of tining, the way towards the longitudinal direction. But now modification has been done, we can do crossway also. So both have advantages, both have disadvantages. That's how the world is moving on. But what's coming in the developed world, especially in Germany, for the last 15 years we've seen is that they have gone beyond texturing. They have gone to a concept called brushing of aggregates, called exposed aggregates. But Vinodji will talk about it, because that is called two-layer paving. So what they do there is they don't put any texturing with the machine there, but they brush the existing top 10 millimeter. the aggregate is exposed, and then that is cured by a compound. Why so? So there it gives you two advantages. One is friction, which is required for braking, number one. Number two, the sound is reduced. And number three, the safety is much, much higher because high speed autobahns travel speed is almost 100 kilometers plus there. So I think India will eventually move towards the next level of concrete finishing in terms of texturing. We'll come back to exposed aggregates. IRC has prepared the code. It is published now. I'm sure that will address the issues of quality levels on noise levels. But yes, also it also depends the quality of concrete and kind of hardening agent we use. I think we are using mostly wax based. That will get modified soon. Our option is what has happened to our existing payments. We see in US, we see in China. We are now milling the existing concrete roads to provide the texturing back on the surface. That gives you an even surface, safety, and texturing, and very less noise. And in US, they have gone one step ahead. Pandey sir, now they mill top 60 millimeter of the concrete top in US, and they put an asphalt on the top. But that is after 25 or 30 years. So
Yes,
they have
sir.
lived the life for 30 years or 25 years. The top 50 millimeters milled, and they put an asphalt layer. That's a sandwich layer. So we have all the options from safety to increase life cycle and make it road more usable. Coming to your question, what Sundarshan Sahab said on making pavers in India, why not? I mean, who would not like to do this? So just to give you numbers, till 2014, 2015, the total concrete pavers in India, including Whitgan, were around 200. But in last 3 years, that is 16, 17, 18, Whitgan added close to 500 pavers in Indian markets, close to 450, 500 pavers in market. So total market today is around 700 plus or 800 plus pavers. And
Yes.
that we seen that is sufficient, which is catering to today's market. But yes, if the concrete prices come down and asphalt goes up, who knows, market comes back for a bigger number of concrete. And we all will be happy to do it in India. Why not? I mean, we are ready. Whitgan has invested hugely in Pune in India, and we are ready for that. And market, definitely to me, concrete is, much better, longer life cycle, helps us to push the concrete roads in a larger way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjay Bajaj. Thanks for all those. So it has covered almost most part of our equipment category. Now coming on to the concrete category, help me invite Mr. Vinay Gupta. Sir, welcome on the board, and we'd like to listen from you, Mr. Vinay Gupta. Yeah.
Yes, once again, good
Something
morning,
about the
everybody.
concrete, and you know it all about the concrete, and you are serving as a legend, in the concrete world. So help us, help the entire industry so that we'll be cop up with this, and we'll surely be taking it up the way.
Well,
Yeah.
having been president of Indian Concrete Institute,
Welcome.
I must make sure that I don't remain biased towards concrete alone, because that's not my forte.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll begin with thanking UBM, I guess Ultratech, Sarah, Inform Market, and all others who are concerned with this organizing the event today. It's a very different kind of discussion we are having. Look, like for example, we are just structural consultants ourselves. We only understand structure. But the kind of discussion we are having today is a bit of a variation from our mainline structure that we design, that is bridges, metros, and buildings and things like that. We normally say that factories are shut, construction is shut, therefore economy is shut. Well, let me tell you, as civil engineers, our spirits remain high. We got time to remold ourselves. If you hear many people saying that I am getting no time to myself, in Hindi we say, "मेरे को तो मरने का भी फुर्सत नहीं है." So today is a time when you can decide how to replan your activities, how to refurbish your activities, and have many things in a more efficient and a pleasant manner. The pleasure is also very important for the work that we do. Money saved is money earned. So now that the crude price has gone down like anything, the crude consumption has gone down like anything, the government will save money, we will save money, and that becomes indirectly a saving, so that we are saving. Talk of the government bodies like Mr. R.K. Pandey's NHAI, CPWD, DMRC, NCRTC in Delhi, and so on. They are all under tremendous pressure to take on the construction activity post-COVID. And learning a fact from USA, even during the lockdown, their infrastructure projects never stopped. So taking a cue from there, we also have started the construction of metro in Mumbai. It is just started. I got some photographs, and also in Pune. I got some photographs today from there as well. So the metros, especially the tunnel part, is under construction now. It has restarted. Coming to our topic of concrete roads and white topping, of course. If you have not built a concrete road originally, but if you have a damaged bituminous road, then white topping works very well. As a matter of fact, ICI has taken up a project, kind of a thing, in franchisee with Ultratech to propagate the idea of white topping, have some kind of advocacy program so that through the media, it reaches the masses that what is white topping. In this white topping, you scarify the top surface, which is a bitumen aggregate, and then you put a concrete layer on top, which gives more or less similar life as a original concrete road. It is well known that the concrete road has a better quality. It has a better life, I would say. But what is required is the quality. Now comparing bitumen and concrete. In the case of concrete road, you still have things like your GSB, WMM, dense bituminous macadam, which of course comes in the bituminous case. And here you have dry lean cement concrete and you have pavement quality concrete. Whereas in the other case, that is bituminous roads, you have GSB, you have WMM, you have dense bituminous macadam, you have bituminous concrete. And we all know that slowly with the time, bitumen has become quite expensive. Of course, cement is also following the same trend. We know it very well. But bitumen has gone faster on the higher rate than cement. And as a result, the concrete roads are, bituminous roads are not as cheap as they were earlier. Anyway, the fact is that if we build a good quality construction, which now we are quite aware of and we are quite conscious of, well-built concrete road will give us a much better life than bituminous roads. Though cost is higher to begin with, the capex is more, but the opex would eventually be less. And that is because concrete road does not hate water, unlike bituminous roads. Once we have water on bitumen and the ultraviolet rays, it cannot withstand both these together, whereas concrete can. Concrete is known to have a good life, quality, everything. And secondly, when you have a remaking of a bituminous road, I mean, let's say there are more remakes of bituminous roads or repairs and all that, the indirect loss that you incur on the traffic stoppage or traffic diversions, if you count all that together, then anything that requires a repair more frequently will have its own adverse effects of cost as well. Talking of the design, in the design part of it, the concrete road or even bitumen road for that matter, the concrete acts as a plain concrete, PCC. It's not reinforced concrete, even though we have a top layer of small reinforcement that we provide, nominal reinforcement. But it's a plain concrete. The concrete takes tension. Concrete takes the saucer effect that takes place due to the wheel load on the concrete surface. And through the tension, the concrete transfers the forces to the underlying substrata below. And as a result, the concrete has to have a large thickness because there's no reinforcement. And that is also, it's a PCC structure. So obviously the life is very good. So with all these things, I would say that we should make a good balance of bituminous roads and concrete roads. And personally, yes, I am more in favor of concrete roads for the reason that they do give a good life, provided the construction quality is good. Once, yes, if the bituminous road is damaged, you can overlay bitumen, you can again overlay and all that. But in case of concrete, the repairs are more expensive because the materials that you use, like epoxy and other things, are quite expensive to fill up the cracks, to fill up the dips and those kinds of things. So we should, if we can construct very good quality, then concrete road in that sense are better. As I said, capex is more, opex would be lesser. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for sharing your wonderful insights. Attendees they are growing in numbers. You know, the numbers are increasing. We are close to 1,200 attendees as of now due to this magical combination of, you know, best of the eminent panelists are there. May I please invite Mr. V. Ramachandra to continue with this concrete discussion, that how exactly is concrete is shaping up in the near future, and how exactly the asphalt and concrete. Let us talk more about asphalt also. I mean, not the comparison, but how exactly to go about with both the options in the same manner. You know.
Uh,
Please.
At the outset, thank you, Sachin, for this opportunity, and it's a wonderful program. As already mentioned by Mr. R.K. Pandey and the other panelists, concrete roads definitely have an advantage over bituminous roads. I would say, bitumen roads have been there for quite a long time. They have been giving good service wherever they are well constructed, but then the life cycle of them, bitumen roads, are quite less. And if you look at the statistics, in India in 2017, there were about 3,600 deaths which were related to potholes. And these potholes were mainly on asphalt roads. I'm not trying to blame one technology to promote other technology, but this remains a fact. The deaths due to terror-related deaths were around 800, and pothole-related deaths were 3,600. Therefore, you know what is more important. I am not trying to say that terror is not an important thing for the country, but then pothole-free roads are definitely much more important for the country than any other thing. In fact, there is a Mumbai High Court judgment also that people have a fundamental right to have good roads. It is a part of the fundamental rights. Having said that, on concrete roads, there is no need to promote its advantages because it is quite well known. You look at, if you look at city roads, just look at the example of the Marine Drive Road in Mumbai. This Marine Drive Road in Mumbai was constructed in the year 1939. And from 1939, it has worked so well for 73 years. I repeat, 73 years. And it was in the year 2012 that the next overlay was put. That was after 73 years. In fact, there are several roads in the country which have lived for 40 to 50 years. Now, coming to some of the points that were mentioned, like sometimes people complain about the riding quality and so on. Now, there are, even within concrete roads, there are different varieties of concrete roads. Already mentioned by Mr. Vinay Gupta, white topping is one of the very popular methods of rehabilitation of roads. And in fact, Ultratech has been involved not just as a cement or a concrete supplier, but also as a total technical service provider by working with everyone to ensure that the quality of construction is done very well. More than 300 kilometers of white topping has been done. So that is one way of doing it. And to reduce the number of joints, there is another method that is called as the continuously reinforced concrete pavements, where the number of joints would reduce, and therefore you will have much better riding quality. And one more thing in very recent times that has been done is a precast concrete road. In fact, one such road has been built by Ultratech in association with the NIT Nagpur. There is a road that has been built in Nagpur. About 400 meters of that particular road has been built. And very recently, the entire panels were cast in the factory, and they were brought to the site, and then they were assembled at the site. If you can see this photograph here, this is that Mumbai Marine Drive Road that I was mentioning to you. I hope you are able to see this slide. And this is the white topping that you see in many parts of the country in recent times. And these are all the very different steps of white topping. I would agree with my earlier panelists. Two things have made difference in our country as far as concrete roads are concerned. One is the mechanical production of concrete. Earlier, we were doing manual mixing of concrete. Now, with very good ready-mix concrete batching plants, you have the mechanically produced concretes of good quality. And number two, very good quality pavers are available today. With the equipments that are available today, such good quality roads can be constructed. Now, this is the precast concrete pavement that I was mentioning to you about, which was constructed in Nagpur. Very fast, the road can be open to traffic. Now, these are all the possibilities that we have as far as concrete roads are concerned. And riding quality or the noise on concrete roads can be definitely reduced by going in for longitudinal texturing compared to the transverse texturing that we are currently doing. That would reduce the construction, that would reduce the noise on concrete roads. Definitely, concrete roads are durable, and there is a fuel efficiency also. Central Road Research Institute has conducted studies to say that if you use concrete roads, there is a fuel efficiency up to 14%. That is the kind of fuel efficiency that you have on concrete roads. Therefore, on merits, it is not that you have to fight against each other to against asphalt roads. On merits, concrete roads always stand, and their long life ensures that the maintenance issues are reduced. Therefore, we will not have pothole related issues in our country. And the last point that I would like to make is that just as we should make good bituminous roads, we must make good concrete roads also. Therefore, quality control in concrete roads is a very important thing. Well done concrete roads give excellent service. Thank you.
Satin, you're muted. Satin, you're muted.
Yeah. Now it's fine. Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would request Mr. Binod Kumar and Mr. Satish Kumar to talk more about these. And there is a lot of questions coming, and we'll be taking a question answer round by the last end of our session. For 15 minutes, we'll be taking care of question answer round. Participants are now close to 1,200. So we have a big number increasing, and it is increasing only. The numbers are increasing only. Mr. Binod Kumar and Mr. Satish Kumar Sharma would request Mr. Binod Kumar to speak first, followed by Mr. Satish Kumar Sharma. Thank you so much for joining, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just one. There is a lot of questions coming. One of the main question is there is always a debate about the cost-benefit analysis of concrete and asphalt road. Are there any other factors that go into deciding which of the two is actually beneficial? What way should India go? What should be the right approach? I mean, considering both the options, and about the white topping also. Okay. Where are we heading? I mean, yeah.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
I think my previous speakers have given me enough clue to talk about rigid payment. If you see the development of rigid payment in India, we can divide it into two phases. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
We can divide the entire time or development of rigid payment into two phases. First phase starts with 1994-95, when this Delhi-Mathura, our first national highway of concrete road, was constructed. This phase continued up to 2012, when this Taj Expressway between Delhi and Agra was constructed. And the second phase started 2015 onwards, which is still going on. So if we think of the first phase of concrete pavement development in India, that means 94-95 to 2012 period, we used to give this logic that concrete pavements are very cheap in their life cycle cost. And we have to make the people understand that you should go for rigid pavement because they are long life, require less maintenance, and overall life cycle cost is very, very less, or it is cheaper in terms of LCA as compared to the bituminous pavement. So we need to prove it to the people. as Pandey sir have mentioned, that we don't have such a good model for calculating life cycle cost analysis of the rigid versus flexible, and particularly for rigid payment. Yes, it is true that we don't have good models, but we don't need any mathematical model to prove the superiority of a rigid payment. You can see Delhi-Mathura Road, first national highway, was constructed with a design life of 20 years. In 95, already 25 years has passed. And we believe that still this road will perform for next 15 to 20 years, at least for 20 to 20 years. So we have live examples before us. So we don't need to, we in fact need to develop our models, but we don't need to prove the worth of a rigid payment by using some mathematical model. So it is already there. Then of course, various payments, Mumbai-Pune Expressway was constructed, and Lucknow to Faizabad Road, and there are many, Indore bypass, there are many rigid payments which were constructed in the first phase. Then second phase started. When the second phase started in 2014-15 onwards, cement manufacturer associations were contacted by the government to reduce the price of cement. And as I have the information that price of cement was fixed somewhere less than 2,000 rupees per bag between government and CMA. I think my information should be correct. When we used to calculate the life cycle cost analysis and prove that in terms of LCA, rigid payment is cheaper than bituminous payment, we used to have the market price of cement, that means 300 rupees per bag. But if government was getting a cement less than 200 rupees per bag, then that gap between LCA of rigid payment and flexible payment was even wider. That means rigid payment was even more cheaper than the flexible payment. But somehow, after in the last 3-4 years, reports are that this price negotiation between government and CMA has gone wrong somewhere, and now the price of cement is rising 250 or beyond 250 also. So that gap might be narrowed down between the LC of the two kind of the payments. But I believe that still, if you calculate the life cycle cost analysis of a rigid payment at the real market price, it will be cheaper than the bituminous payment. Now, we are also talking that in bituminous payment, we are using new technology like perpetual payments, which is being tried perhaps in Delhi Baroda section. But perpetual payment, we will have to invest more. If you calculate the, even the initial cost of construction of a perpetual payment may not be less than that of the initial cost of the construction of a rigid payment. So perpetual payment will even be more costly than conventional flexible payment. And the LCA between the two will again go in favor of rigid payment. So after all, this economic criteria is a matter of to be tackled between government and the Cement Manufacturer Association. Definitely, I will appeal to the CMA through this forum that they should reconsider this pricing of cement for these government projects, because road construction do not require so much of the cement. As far as the capacity of production of the cement is concerned, it should be more than, if I am correct, 3,000 million tons annually. And if we convert all our national highways into rigid payment, then it may not require more than 100 million tons of the cement. So it is very less amount of the cement which is required for the government concrete road projects. So Cement Manufacturer Association should think of that if they give cement to the government on a concessional basis, and whatever infrastructure is created, that will help the Cement Manufacturer Association to create another kind of infrastructure like building development that will be faster. And whatever they lose in supplying the cheaper cement to the road sector, they may be compensated by supplying of cement at their normal prices to other industries. So my humble suggestion will be to CMA that they should reconsider this pricing of cement as far as government projects are concerned. Now, in 2015, government took a very proactive decision that most of the concrete road projects, as far as NH is concerned, will be constructed as national highway. Perhaps it was driven by the life cycle cost analysis, long life, and other advantages also. But somehow, in the last 2-3 years, that I think that support to rigid payment is declining as far as on the part of the government. And the reasons may be many, I don't know, because I'm not one of those who make these policies. But whatever reasons are in the market, whatever reasons are being discussed. First reason is that some contractors have complained that we don't have enough amount of sand for the completion of concrete roads. So they wanted to switch over to flexible payment. They wanted to convert their rigid payment to the flexible payment. But let me tell you, total amount of aggregates, coarse aggregate as well as fine aggregates, which are required for the construction of a bituminous pavement, are more than whatever we require in the construction of equivalent rigid pavement. So it is, if they are not finding fine aggregate or sand for the construction of rigid pavement, how they can find it for the construction of flexible pavement? So this excuse, this reason to me is an excuse only. Real reasons are something different. It is not the availability of the aggregate, neither it is the availability of the machines, because enough paver, as Mr. Sanjay Bajaj has just said, that we have more than 500 pavers now working in India. So we have enough machinery. There is no dearth of machinery. There is no dearth of material also. And if material shortage is there, it will be same for the flexible and for the rigid, and more so for flexible payment. Now, what are the problems which we are facing today, and what are those maybe real reasons for why the people and why the government is taking back a step in from constructing concrete roads? One, as Pandey sir have also told, that it is the quality issue. Definitely this issue is there. And before we go into the quality, even a part of the quality is, first let me come to the riding quality of a rigid payment. It is true that riding quality of a rigid payment is slightly poor in terms of bump integrator. If you have a value of 1400 or 1500 BI value in the beginning of a flexible payment, you will have around 1700 or 1800 BI value for a rigid payment. So it is slightly higher for rigid payment. It is true. It is mainly because of the presence of the joints. And second parameter which is responsible for this high BI value is, when we construct a rigid payment, paver needs to be operated continuously, because whenever you will stop the paver, a hump will be created at that location. So those humps will add to the riding quality, poor riding quality, or more BI value of the rigid payment. So there has to be a synchronization between the output of a cement, concrete plant, and the consumption by the paver. Paver must not be stopped in between unless you reach at the end of that day's work. So less number of the humps, better will be the riding quality. So these two reasons are responsible for slightly higher value of BI for rigid payment. But even if its value is slightly higher, it doesn't mean that concrete roads have bad riding quality or their riding comfort is bad. Riding comfort may be slightly less as compared to the bituminous payment, but their riding comfort is still there, and whatever specifications have been laid down in the codes, a rigid payment fulfills those norms.
Thank you so much, Mr. Binod. Yeah. A little short of time. Please continue. Continue. Sorry to bother.
Important point is that riding quality of a bituminous payment go on reducing, but on the other hand, riding quality of a concrete payment, it may be slightly higher, slightly poor in the beginning, but it will remain throughout its design life at almost at the same level. So there is no deterioration of the riding quality. Due to paucity of time, I would say that today's challenges and which we are concerned with when we think of rigid payment is that quality of the construction has gone down slightly. And it is mainly the plastic shrinkage cracking which occurs in the first few hours, and some structural cracking which is happening into the concrete payments even prematurely within a period of 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6 years. We design and construct a rigid payment for the 30 years, but some failures at some projects have been observed too prematurely. And main concern is that of plastic shrinkage cracking. Everybody sees these plastic shrinkage cracking, and a panic is created that concrete has created. Even those who pass by on those roads, journalists and all politicians and all administrative persons, they will make a hue and cry that concrete pavements are bad. They are not good. The concrete cracks very soon. But these plastic shrinkage cracks, first thing, we will have to consider them. Present code says that if total length is more than 3 meters, then slabs has to be replaced. This kind of specification needs to be changed, because if these plastic shrinkage cracks remains in the slab even throughout the period of the life, they are not going to deteriorate the life of the concrete. They are not going to affect the riding quality of the concrete, but it creates a panic into the mind of the contractors that we have seen early cracking. And perhaps this is one of the reasons that which is going against the concrete pavement. So these plastic shrinkage cracks, though they are preventable if you take due care during the construction time, but still it is a matter of concern. Second is premature structural cracking, which is happening mostly in the form of long-run cracking. We in CRRI have given a solution to this problem. We have written to the ministry also, and presently CRRI is doing a project regarding this long-run cracking, premature long-run cracking failure also. And very soon, within the next 6 months, we will be coming out with the whatever changes have to be made in the specifications. This project is Ministry of Road Transport and Highway sponsored project, and very soon if we will like to provide the guidelines for making concrete pavements free of these long-term crackings. So,
thank you so much.
Present problem is plastic shrinkage cracking, which creates a panic and which has convinced the people that we should not go for concrete pavements, because once they occur, it is very difficult to repair them. So it remains there. This panic is creating more trouble for the advancement of the concrete pavement. And we, all the concrete pavement fraternity, all those who are associated with the specification preparation, have to look into this. We have to relax this criteria even further. More than 3 meters, we will go to for relaxed criteria. And
thank you so much, Mr. Vinod Kumar. We're a little short of time, so if you can talk quickly, and would like Mr. Satish Kumar Sharma now to a little, add on to the things and how exactly to take the things forward.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Mr. Satish Sharma, you're most welcome, sir.
Yeah,
would like to add on to this entire, session. I mean, whatever is happening, how exactly to take the things forward. And I hope there is no dearth of manpower. There is no dearth of the right equipment is there. The right expertise is there. The skilling is there. The government is there to with us to help accommodate all the things. So I think we are in India is the right combination now. We'd like to listen from you, Mr. Satish Kumar Sharma. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Satin. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think I heard my panelist and everybody has given enough enlightenment, particularly for rigid pavement or concrete pavement. Now I would like to, all said and done, whatever you have said, we are having sufficient technology with us. We are having good engineers with us. We are having even good technology, equipment,
yes.
Even contractors with us who can do and take India to real 21st century, as far as the rigid pavement construction is there. I would just like to give you two small, on lighter note examples. In 1997, Professor Adam Newley, he was giving a speech in Hyderabad, and he has narrated a small poem. A person went and said, "Oh concrete," exact word I don't remember, "Oh concrete, you have cheated me." And he has given all the pain, whatever he had suffered, because he has used the concrete in his structure. And later on, he personifies, and concrete says, "You have neither taken the care while selection of aggregate. You have neither taken care while selection of sand. No care during the processing and even the execution. So how you can blame me?" All said and done, quality is the key when you are going to look the performance of any structure. And I'm telling you, because I'm looking road sector also, I'm looking metro sector also, I'm looking nuclear also. The places where the quality is being asked by the client, or which is going to be totally monitored by the client, there the quality is being done. Concrete doesn't know whether you are going to use in our nuclear power plant or you are going to use the concrete in pavement. Now all said and done, as far as the pavements are concerned, definitely, even I am of the strong opinion, if you are having initial investment capability, and if you are having the material and good quality control, definitely the rigid payments or concrete payments are going to be beneficial. Now, coming back, I'm not going in much detail in all those aspects. My only worry is already the industry, construction industry, which was not in a very glooming phase, not in its very glooming phase, and already a lot of challenges it was facing. Now, because unprecedented COVID-19, again, we are going to have the super challenges. You know, government has taken the requested that all the contractors, all the private players, they have to pay the salary, they have to pay all the, pending payments are there with the contractor, with subcontractor, with equipment supplier, with consultant, everybody, timely. And even earlier, the contractors were not in condition to pay their consultants, their subcontractors, their equipment suppliers. Now, in given condition, I don't know how they are going to behave. Now, you see all the laborers who are working on the site, particularly if the state governments are going to take their their laborers to their native places. Again, remobilizing these laborers on the contract site, it is going to be very difficult. If you see the contracting community, almost, I'm talking about all leaders whom you can name, all they are having a challenge of working capital at present. So given
Sorry
situation,
to interrupt in between. There is a small survey come up in between. This is for the attendees. I just want to say hello to all our attendees. The count is increasing, and in the meantime, if you can fill up, this form, this poll is there, and there is a survey to be conducted. We want your participation, and this will help us, grow the entire thing. Thank you so much. Yeah, please.
So
now, please continue, Mr. Satish.
Yeah. So in given condition, I think it will be really my humble request to the government of India or all the officials who are working in this sector particularly, to really revamp, to fulfill the dream of 100 lakh crore investment in infrastructure in coming years to come. Government has to come with some innovative policies by virtue of which this community, especially road construction community, especially contracting community, but naturally it will cover all the consultant, equipment supplier and everybody, can really move forward and take the challenges. Whatever challenges has come because of the COVID, and whatever challenges or whatever demand is being posed by our policymakers to take the India further in that growth path. Thank you. I will cover in next day.
Great, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining Mr. Satish Kumar Sharma. And now over to rest, all of the panelists, if somebody wants to add on, because it's a panel discussion. And Mr. Pandey, it's been long we've been hearing from you. We'd like to have your opinion on the same. And also, sir, how exactly we are coping up with this migration issues and labor issues, which is the migration issues there due to this COVID. And also about the logistics part, wherein industry is still suffering. Thanks that we've started all the projects. The government has already, initiated everything fine. But this logistics is a pain, and manpower is a real pain as of now. So how exactly NHAI and government is going about it? Over to you, sir. Mr. Pandey.
I'll tell you one thing. Say, when we talk about road construction, you can't compare all the projects in one, you can't take it in one basket. Think of a project which is far away from the city, where the whole labor is stranded there. They are not allowed to move. So everything is there. They are themselves in a camp. What is the harm in taking up those kind of works? Similarly, if you see the kind of different type of item, there are a number of items which are equipment oriented. Taking up those work, there is no issue on that. But think of a case which I am telling you, a real life case. We had to do a bridge work before the monsoon because of the criticality. We asked the local government to permit us. They permitted us. Then issue came, we are not getting the hydraulic jack. It has to come from somewhere else, the other state. Fortunately, we have taken up with the other state, got the hydraulic jack from there, it moved and it came to the site. Then question came, I need bars from Germany. So I can't.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for addressing the pain, and I hope we'll make it happen. The session will gonna give a big boost to the economy, and we'll definitely be making it happen. Mr. Vinay Gupta and Mr. Anand Sundaresan would like to speak something about it. Yeah, would like to listen from you.
Yeah.
Mr. Vinay Gupta, please.
No, let Mr. Sundaresan say.
As everybody says, let's start with Mr. Vinay Gupta. It's just fine because I have announced your name. I'm so sorry.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
of course, we've had fantastic presentations and really an eye opener for me as well. So
Yeah.
I must confess that. But I was just looking at people are asking generally a question, which I think, Mr. Sachdeva, you said, that how do you decide which kind of road to construct?
Yes.
And I'll give you my views, to the audience.
Besides
My
the
views-
geographical thing or something like that,
Yes,
how to
yes,
decide where to
yes.
do concrete and where to do asphalt and where to do this, capping
Yes.
and all those things. Yeah.
Yes. So let's take a scenario that if we decide to construct only bituminous roads, you'll be short of bitumen. Let's take a scenario you decide to construct only concrete roads, you'll be short of cement and aggregates. So we certainly have to make a balance of the two.
Mhm.
But we know very well that concrete has a better life, despite of some of the problems that Mr. Vinod Kumar mentioned about this noise and other things. And of course, he also mentioned how to improve that noise part of it. But on the whole, concrete, if you look at the roads, they are in the range of M35 to M40 concrete.
Yes.
And this concrete is used when you construct a bridge for a life of 100 to 150 years. And that is a reinforced or pre-stressed concrete bridge. Now this bridge, which is road, is only a PCC. PCC with M40 concrete will give it 200 years of life, provided the sub-base layers are constructed, compacted properly. In fact, the sub-base layers are equally a culprit for bituminous roads as well as concrete roads. But somehow in bitumen, we say, fine, no problem, overlay, job done. But in concrete, we're worried what to do if it dips, if it settles. So given that quality, we can construct a fantastic concrete road, which will give you maybe 100 years, 200 years. There are examples of 40, 50 or 60 or 70 years with, I think several people said about it. But thing is that if we talk of three items, bitumen, concrete, and that's rigid pavement, and white topping. If we think that we can't control drainage, then I would say we should have a purely concrete road. But if we think we can't remove the existing bituminous road and let's do something in between, we go for white topping, which Ultratech and few others have taken up the challenge and they're doing it. In the case of white topping, your top layer at least, which is about 5 to 6 inches only, and not as much as 1 foot or 1.5 feet, is concrete. In the same rich concrete. Below that, you have the original substrate. You just do some milling of the top surface of the bitumen and you lay this. To decide which one to go for originally, that is if you have to make a new road, I think we must look at the quality of the construction that is feasible there. And based on that and the materials availability, aggregates are anyway required in both the cases, we should decide. But wherever choice is available and wherever we think we can do, even for the rural areas, if you make a concrete road, we don't have to worry about the waterlogging. And that's the best we can achieve.
Sir, attendees are all fired up. We still have those numbers maintaining, so that means that we are up to the mark. Everybody is up to the mark. Thanks to all the eminent, distinguished panelists. Please continue, sir. Mr. Vinay Gupta.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say, how to compare, given a choice and given an equal weightage. If it's a thing that's available, then one should go for concrete roads because it's not affected by the water. That's the main problem that we have in the bituminous roads, and of course compaction and other things. Repairs look easy, but at the same time, you have to keep on repairing much more often than a good quality concrete road. But in case of bitumen, if you construct a fantastic quality, but you can't control water, also then you had it. So that's my generalization.
No, thank you so much. So would you like to highlight on the pricing issue? I mean, if we compare it with the white topping, the bitumen road and the concrete pavement, I mean, if you can get us the pricing factor, wherever it is coming and how to reduce that pricing, because we are now as if we can say that we have the best of the expertise, we have the best of the technology and everything. We are also working on artificial intelligence and working with a lot of manufacturers. So where exactly we can put down the pricing on these, pricing factor, I mean, related to all these three options?
Now, as I said, if you
And what
talk
are
about
the
the
pricing
first
like?
two,
Yeah.
yeah, if you talk about the first two, that is concrete road and bituminous road,
Yeah.
people have already proven in various reports, even I have seen certain reports, that after 20 years it comes to a break even between bitumen road and concrete road.
Okay.
And beyond 20 years, when 20 years when the concrete road lasts more without maintenance, it starts becoming cheaper. But today is the time that we deal with smart handset.
Yeah.
We don't like those old conventional phone, which is only for the
Yeah.
phone call. That means people want a quality which is good, quality of life. People don't want every day PWD or NHI being blamed for repairs of the roads every now and then. Nobody wants this. People think that we should lead a richer life. So even though the capex is more in the case of concrete road, as I said, it's better to have OPEX, which is less, better to construct and not have to reconstruct again and again, unlike many other items that we do and we reconstruct and all that. So my preference goes to concrete road. White topping is in between solution on an existing bituminous road, which has got partly damaged, and we do it with a concrete pavement on top. I think this is Satish
So
Sharma
can we
has
have
something.
the pricing? I mean, Mr. Vinod Kumar, and if you can add on to it, the pricing, the right pricing. I mean,
If you talk about the numbers,
we talk about the numbers. Yeah.
I think people like Mr. Pandey or Mr. Satish Sharma would be able to say better in terms of the number of the price.
Mr. Sundaresan, you would. Yeah, Mr. Satish Sharma, please, over to you for the pricing
Now
issue.
you see, many of the time it happens.
Get us the right pricing, yeah.
Yeah.
Amongst all these three options available in the market.
It actually again depends on area to area where you are working. What is the transportation cost you are going to get, particularly for aggregate, particularly for cement, and even for machinery. But more or less, if you talk initial investment of concrete road for equal of the bituminous road, it goes varies between something between 3 to 5 times.
Okay. I hope other panelists agree with the same. Is it 3 to 5 times or is it lesser than that?
Initial investment.
We are on the same page?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I think it depends on various factors.
No.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors. But if we particularly talk about the NHAI project.
Yeah. Broadly, if we'll compare cost of concrete road and the asphalt road.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the recent increase in the cost of the cement, which we have not factored in. Till last year, when we worked out, the cost of cement was around 20% higher than the asphalt road in terms of the capital.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. That initial cost of construction will always be higher for a rigid payment. But we have to think of cost as well as the life together. We cannot separate them the two.
Once you are calculating the cement cost at 2,000 rupees per ton, definitely the cost variation will be something 50% to 2 times, 1.5 to 2 times. But actual cost of cement, which is going to be there on that particularly site, this is going to be higher, much higher than 2,000, whatever has been included into the comparison. But anyhow, it depends on so many other factors. It also depends on the sub-base. It also depends on the manpower cost. It also depends on the area where you are going to do. But yes, if given the opportunity to invest initially, definitely the rigid payments are going to be a favorable thing for all the engineers.
Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, you would like to add something on it? Yeah.
Consider one more fact which we very often do not consider. It is a scientific fact proven by many studies that rigid payment are fuel efficient payment, particularly for heavy vehicles like trucks, good trucks. And a study shows that there is a variation of fuel consumption up to 14%.
Yes.
And we have made calculations that in case of heavy vehicles only, you leave the light vehicles and passenger vehicles, don't consider them at all. Consider only the heavy axle load traffic which is plying on our national highways. If we consider 5% fuel saving, though it is up to 10 to 14%, even if you consider 5% fuel saving, then entire cost of the construction of a rigid pavement can be repaid back by fuel consumption in almost 20 years. So a payment which is paying back to you its cost in terms of fuel saving, leave the other advantages of life and maintenance free and all that, just the fuel saving. And these are the scientific studies.
Yeah, Mr. Sanjay Bajaj, you'd like to add on something?
Just
Please.
what we're doing today in Indian PQC, we're doing a single slab of 330 millimeter, 330 or 30 centimeter. And there is all M40 concrete, and we pave in single layer. Dr. Pandey, B.B. Pandey, who is no more now, had suggested this idea way back in 2012. Can we have in 2 layers of concrete? What Europe has done now, largely.
Some audible issues, yeah. Not
Europe
audible, Mr. Sanjay.
Am I audible now? What Europe has done is they have gone for 2-layer concrete paving, 2-lift concrete paving. So the base layer is typically 1/3 of the top layer. It's like on the top you put a varying course of concrete, and the base is of marginal aggregates, less cement, and the top, the total crust is around 300 only, sir, 320. The top is 80 millimeter, which is rich concrete, but the base is of lean design and marginal aggregates. So there we have seen they also put in wrap there, reuse marginal aggregates, put in less cement. There the cost per cubic meter compared to M40 what we do, I don't have the exact data, you can't compare European numbers and Indian numbers, but we understand is very, very close to 30% or 25% cheaper comparatively.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to, Anybody else would like to? Yeah, Sanjay ji.
I agree with what Mr. Sanjay Bajaj has said. That
I would say that, we should not talk about the cost here.
Yeah.
Mr. Sundareshan sir. Yes, Mr. Sundareshan.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, I think we should not compare the prices here, but it's a fact that, there are so many studies which are done. The difference in price between a rigid payment and a flexible payment will vary from place to place, because there are so many varying factors out there. It could be 20%, or it can go up to 65% depending upon the site. So, but what I want to say is that all said and done, everybody, all the panelists here and most of us, we agree that concreting roads or the concrete roads are the best compared to the asphalt roads in the long run. It gives a lot of advantages. And so there is a huge opportunity. Now in the complete concreting road, there is only one equipment that is missing, which is not manufactured in India, that is only the concrete paver. So if there is so much of opportunity that is available, and Mr. Vinay Gupta, when he said that, even you can go for rural roads with concreting, then the opportunity for demand for the concrete pavers is going to be astronomical. So that gives a good opportunity for people to look at manufacturing this in India. And also I would say that CIRA or the equipment rental companies, they will play a very, very important role in popularizing it. If the equipments are produced in India, definitely the cost of the equipment will come down drastically, and then it will be available to the people under rental. It will be available for short term, so they need not even for the peak time if they require it, they can take it on rent for a short period of time from the rental companies or your association members, and by that way the overall cost of the road building can come down drastically.
We'll surely be taking it forward, Mr. Sundareshan. We'll be a little short of time. We are another 5 minutes for Q&A round. So it's time for audiences to connect. And let me introduce this. Anybody wants to add?
Satin, Mr. Satin, I just wanted to say that about 18 to 20 questions, I have already answered it online.
We have got some 200 questions, sir, as of now. More than 200 questions lined up, and I hope many of them are already answered, and we'll definitely take it further.
I have been able to answer some 20 of them so far in between.
It's just coming up, sir. We are the Q&A round is just coming up, and I would like to extend our the thanks from all the panelists and audiences to Pragati Bitumen Industries. They are the prime sponsors of this event. Pragati Bitumen Industries is established in 2007 with the vision to manufacture quality bitumen emulsion of different grades. The company has added experience in the field of road construction. We would like to thank Mr. Dharmesh Jain for supporting the webinar as presenting partner. Thank you so much, Mr. Dharmesh Jain. So I think we are heading towards Q&A round. Got to be a big applaud from everyone. So the attendees count is still stable, and hope to have a great Q&A round. So I hope that we are heading towards this Q&A round. So let's start the question and answer round. So panelists, any of your questions? I mean, initially we're going to take the questions from you only, and then we'll be talking more about from the audiences. Yeah.
I have one question to Mr. Pandey only, that because of this COVID, you know, there is an investment of something like 19 trillion, which is roughly about, you know, 20 lakh crores of rupees, which is going to be invested in the next 5 years on the infrastructure development, especially for the road project, which means it comes to about 40,000 crores per annum for the next 5 years. So will there be any diversion of the funds because of the COVID into the healthcare and other areas? And will the infrastructure investment, is there any likelihood that it will suffer because of that?
You know, it's a big question which you have asked, because, you know, you'll have to see in totality. When I am talking to you, I'm talking to you as a road sector man. But fortunately for the road sector, I can tell you, we have that kind of flexibility. We are not totally dependent on the government funding. We can slightly modify our, you know, awarding between BOT, HAM, and say, for example, BOT 100% from the private sector, HAM by 40% from the private sector. So we have that flexibility, and that is our strength. We hope that will continue, because as on today, we'll continue with this program, of course, with the setback up 2-3 months, but we'll continue.
Great. Yeah. Anybody else?
Okay. Thank you. That gives us a lot of tasalli.
Yeah. Tasalli is always there, sir. And there is always a hope. Sir, over to Mr. Pandey, sir. The question has just come up. How is it decided that whether a certain highway project is going to be a concrete or an asphalt one? What factors go into deciding it? Like, I think we have covered many of these issues, but still one-liner if you want to say something.
One-liner, I'll tell you.
Yeah, one-liner.
Basically, saying life cycle cost analysis itself is a subject of debate. Initially, our life cycle cost was only capital cost. Then subsequently, we said capital cost plus maintenance.
Right.
Now people are thinking, why not road, road user cost as well. Then fourth the view that is coming is, why not environmental cost as well. So today we are only capital plus maintenance cost. We have not taken into account the road user cost plus environmental cost for a very simple reason, because I don't have mathematical model for Indian conditions.
Thank you so much. Sir, how are we coping up with the finance issues, which are really, you know, we're all stuck up badly due to this, you know, bank EMIs and a lot of other things. The moratorium, what the banks is not, what they have provided is not really sufficient, and we still have to pay that interest part. This is from the audiences which is coming. So how, we are really looking forward for some good stimulus package, or is there anything in the pipeline?
Say for
is yet to come?
As far as NHAI is concerned, we are more bothered about that the payment should not stop. Even during lockdown period, our total, payment made during the month of March was around 20,000. Out of this, between 22 to 31st, the release was 11,000 crores.
Great, sir.
This period, last maybe around 25th of April, it was again a lockdown period. We have reached 2,200 crores. So from our side, we are trying to see to it that money is flow.
So we are really hoping for a good financial stimulus package for all the entire business fraternity, all the stakeholders. We are looking forward for it. And there is a question just come up from the audiences, and this is for ICI. This is about the concrete only. Where does concrete stand in government policy when in constructing roads and bridges in India? What is the future of concrete as a material to build roads in India? It is again a one-liner. I think all of these things has already been covered. Mr. Vinay Gupta or Mr. Ramachandra, would you like to answer this? Just one liners.
Concrete definitely is a very versatile material, whether it is for roads or bridges or for housing or whatever. It will continue to be so. And particularly for roads, this will definitely be a very sustainable option. We have seen all the logic that has been discussed, and definitely it will for a long time to come, it will remain a versatile material.
Great. So there is always a debate about the cost benefit analysis of concrete and asphalt road. Are there any other factor, or is it really an equipment, or is it something else? Mr. Satish Kumar, would you like to answer?
I think normally when it
There's
is
always
going
a
to be
debate,
there,
so how to avoid
Yeah,
the
yeah.
debate, and let's
May-
conclude it,
You see, in
Yeah.
2016, Morth
Yeah.
had set up a committee. It was committee of around 12 eminent persons.
Mhm.
And in that, even Professor Mahef Tandon was also there.
Right.
Dr. Mahef Tandon was also there. Some professor from Professor Sinha was there from IIT Mumbai. And all
Yeah.
they have come with all the analysis after looking everything. That committee has also come with a recommendation. Okay, given if suppose initial investment can be done, if that is not the criteria, we should slowly shift for concrete pavements, even in
Great.
rural areas also. That was the recommendation. If you see many places, as a contractor, if you ask me, it comes from directly from the project proponent that I want a rigid payment or I want a flexible payment. And whatever the money they are going to allot for that, according to that, we are going to move. In my opinion, especially for rural roads, always the money is a constraint. Initial investment is a very big constraint.
Great. One very interesting thing has just come up from Ellen Bildwin from Mr. Ashok Rao. So he's saying that I was been told that concrete roads are safer for the CRPF since nobody can lay the mines on the road without being visible to the tracking team. Not easy to dig and lay the landmines. Is that correct?
Good point. Good point. Good point.
There are a lot of interesting things covering. I try to cover up, to cop up with all the questions and all the things which are coming up. So,
but one quick answer for this. Roads being lighter in color, that is why the term
somebody
white
is asking that bitumen is black and concrete is white, but I got to know that bitumen has various other colors, and it is
relatively concrete is light in color. That is why that name white topping has come. One advantage of that is that in urban areas you have a whiter color. It definitely reflects light more. Therefore, you require about 20-25% less electricity or less lights to illuminate that. That is another advantage.
Excellent. Anybody wants to add on to it? Mr.
Safer.
Vinay Gupta, Mr. Satish, Mr. Vinod,
More safer.
Mr. Sanjay Bajaj. Yeah.
What I want to say in the last is that any technology will survive only if it has got some worth. Concrete has proven its worth in other structures, and it will prove its worth in concrete roads also. That we have to see.
So, hello, Ganesh Datta from Neptune Industries Limited. So I'm just going through more than 200. This thing is there. Are the projects being implemented in near future are necessary in this situation of COVID crisis? Mr. Pandey, just one line. Are the projects being? This is from coming from Pradeep Patange.
As I told you in the beginning, we have already started our work at site. As far as our planning is concerned, we have a target of 4,500. We stick to that target.
Yeah. So there is another thing which is coming from Amita Shanbag. Good afternoon, Anita. This is about, should there be any pointed diversion of labor on all India basis? Because states are coming up with the different policies. So we have to be one single unified policy for all the states, or states will gonna decide about this migration thing and labor wages and all those things? Is it a central government who is taking care of it, or the states will gonna decide, or mutually they both will gonna decide?
A day before yesterday.
Yeah.
A day before yesterday, there was a circular from Ministry of Home Affairs.
Right.
As per that circular, they have said that individual states have to nominate a nodal officer. That nodal officer is going to look after and plan the movement of all their workers who are stuck in other states. So now what is happening? If the movement from other state to this state is going to be monitored by those state agencies or nodal officers, definitely in days to come, as long as this COVID-19 situation is prevailing, in days to come, definitely some say will be there from state. Or even number one. Number two, the people who have got stuck in 1 month, 1.5 months or 2 months at particular site, at particular place, definitely the moment they will get opportunity, their first tendency will be there to move to their home place. So it is going to be a challenge, what I feel.
And they'll be coming back. Thank you so much, sir. We have an audience from Australia. We have people across the world. Thank you, Dr. Vijay Joshi, for joining. And Mr. Vijay Joshi is saying, what an excellent presentation. All factuals, hats off. So hats off to all the eminent panelists once again. And it is coming up from Meghdut Guha. He is a good friend also. He's talking about the safety concerns for concrete roads. The statistics of road accidents on Taj Expressway and Mumbai-Pune Expressway are alarming. What is your opinion? So any of our panelists wants to answer?
Okay,
Yeah.
Let me answer this question, sir.
Yeah, this is about the safety and the accidents which is happening. So how to avoid that? I mean,
that is more about the tire busting of vehicles on the concrete highways.
Yeah.
I would say all the scientific facts which are available in the literature, though we have not conducted any specific study.
Yeah.
But whatever data is available, it proves that concrete surface do not have anything to do with the tire busting. It is only the speed and the quality of the tire.
Correct.
Great. Great. Mr. Dharmeek Joshi, he's asking why is the use of PPC cement is not regularly specified or restricted in road projects, even though it is cost effective. This is something technical. So I request all my panelists, any of this, why is the use of PPC cement? Yeah, Mr. Vinay.
Well, as I can see, there is nothing against using PPC.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, most of the cement that is coming in the market, it is having some amount of fly ash in it. So it is automatically a PPC cement. And nothing that holds or nothing that prevents us from using PPC in the roads as well. Only thing is that since in the roads, the thicknesses are not all that very large, the heat of hydration is not all that very large, and therefore a control requirement of the heat is not as much. So we can go for OPC, we can go for PPC, but there's nothing against using PPC as far as I'm concerned.
Great.
PPC
I hope
can
it
be
will
used.
answer.
PPC can be used, and it has been used.
Yes.
So it's coming from Mr. Patrick, I mean from US. Why paver block roads not used extensively for highways, replacing bitumen and concrete roads? Why paver blocks roads are not not much in use, precisely?
I think Pandey Saab can say better about it.
Paver roads, I'll tell you, paver roads are allowed in our highway construction, but are not very popular for a very simple reason, because riding comfort is not as good as in concrete or bituminous.
Right, sir. I agree, sir.
Paver block roads
so much.
can be built for roads when the speed is less than 60 kilometers per hour. More than that, it will cause discomfort.
Bombay City has.
This is an outstanding session where I can see we are reverting to all the questions. You know, so it is really going great. Things are going great. Thank you, all of you. And this is coming from Shubham Rangres. Our works currently not started yet. Contractor has encountered additional costs due to withheld of the work, costing salary of the staff and their expenditure. Whether NHI will be contributing a bit towards it? Say yes. Everyone.
I'll tell you.
Over to you, sir.
Very difficult to say yes or no on this, but there are provision in the contract which decides what kind of force measure it is and who will bear the cost.
Thank you, sir. And all the praises coming for you, Mr. Pandey, and for NHAI, as we are one of the largest employer, in the world. And it was mentioned by Mr. Pandey that the Delhi-Mumbai highway would be asphalt instead of concrete. Can someone from the panel clarify the reasons for? No, I think we have already answered it. Mr. Ashish Dange, sir, how far NHAI is involved for doing white topping on bituminous road? As in India, it is very less. I think we have answered that also. It is already covered. Mr. Yogesh Gowda from Bangalore. Very good quality flexible roads are replaced by concrete only. Just a minute, let me just go through it. We, the public, are extremely unhappy about it. Please advise state government of Karnataka not to waste money. We don't mind if CC roads are replaced with the existing flexible roads are structurally weak and requires reconstruction. We have almost covered, I think, this. We have covered this.
In fact, Karnataka and Bangalore has done, in particular, Bangalore has done a lot of white topping in the recent years. And all these roads are giving excellent service. In fact, public opinion is very good. In fact, in one of the court cases, Chennai High Court asked the PWD, why are you not going in for white topping? We have seen that it is very good. Why are you not going ahead in one of the cases?
We'll take just one or two questions anymore. Can we use BIM technology for manufacturing and operations phase of concrete road? This is for some anonymous attendee. I'm not knowing the name. We're talking about the BIM technology. If anybody can show, highlight something.
BIM is generally for building information modeling. In fact, in some housing projects, it has been being used, but not so much for road projects.
Right.
Actually, it is, as you rightly said, it is predominantly for the buildings and structure where you need to know at a later date, you know, the utilities line, how they are going, the plumbing, how they are going, the electrical line, how they are going, and things like that. I have never heard of such a this architectural model used for any of the road construction.
I think in metros there, metros almost,
Metro, yes,
in all metros we are using.
Metro is a mix of both, you know, metro is more of building. So definitely it has to be there. It can be there.
Yeah, and this is coming from Patan Azmatullah Khan. Yeah, we were heading the end of the session. So can we use porous concrete for highways?
I think what he means is pervious concrete. It is called pervious concrete. And pervious concrete is one of the methods of this thing, but it is not for highways or whatever, because there are limitations in terms of the strength and performance. Pervious concrete is ideal for footpaths and car parking areas and things. Not for regular pavement.
Yes.
Okay. So we are, a lot of other questions will be surely be answering it. Otherwise, there's an Ashish Pathak from Ultratech Cement, and then Mr. Ramesh is there. Ujjwal will surely be get back to you. And in any case, the entire session has been recorded and it will be provided very soon. So we are coming up at the end of the session, and it is really an excellent brainstorming session, isn't it? And I hope this is the right time to work together with all the stakeholders, and we are really be taking the things forward. I would extend my thanks to Concrete India, and CRRI, ICEMA, Crane Association, ICI, Startup Council, Concrete Show, everyone, and all the other associations and bodies which are really helping us grow, and we will surely be growing after this session. Thank you so much, all the panelists and all the distinguished, all the participants. They are still in numbers. We are growing fast. So this is the end of it's time to say bye, and we'll surely be connecting soon. Sir. Thank you so much to be a part of this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, Satin. Take care.
Thank you.